Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mariely Sanchez and I am a 4th grade teacher in South Florida. Today is week 11, start of week 11, November 10th, 2020. Yesterday, November 9th, we were supposed to have school, but because of Tropical Storm Eta, we had a hurricane day. Now, my thoughts and prayers go out with everyone in Central America and anyone affected by this hurricane before it reached us. It's now in the Gulf of Mexico and it's predicted to come back to the northern part of Florida. And yeah, it just doesn't want to go away. And again, my thoughts and prayers are with everyone in Central America because the damage it has caused over there is truly devastating. So I just wanted to start and let you know that that's what happened. Yesterday, we didn't have school because our superintendent called a hurricane day. And today we were back in school. We had some flooding coming into the school this morning. It wasn't that major, but there were some schools within our district that were heavily affected by flooding and had to do completely online learning today. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, so it's a holiday. So I'm coming to you at the end of the day. Even though I finished with my students today, we don't see each other again for class until Thursday, November 12th. So I wanted to kind of give you a rundown of what we did today. My hair is in a bun because this morning when we came into the building, the entire school, the AC was out and the room was really, really hot. So later on as the day progressed, they did come and they fixed the air. So that's good. It's pretty comfortable in the classroom right now. And this week is World Kindness Week. So I went ahead and I am wearing my Kind People Are My Kind of People shirt from the Right Stuff Chicks. So let me go ahead and give you some highlights of the learning that we ended up accomplishing today. So on Tuesdays, I start teaching social studies. So we went ahead and did the weekend wrap from Flocabulary. We do the weekend wrap junior because I do teach 4th graders. We did the one that they published last week, Friday. At the time, the news hadn't projected who the winner for our presidential elections were. So they were talking about voting. They were talking about Japan wanting to reduce their carbon footprint. They were talking about who won the World Series in baseball and so forth. So we watched the video, but we also did the discuss version of the video where we stopped at different places. So we watched it through without the discussion, but then we watched it with the discussion. And see, the first question was, why do you think more people chose to vote early or with mail-in ballots this year? So we had some pretty good discussions. So the next one went ahead and let's go bring it right over here. Goes to show there's a lot we don't know. So this goes with what scientists discovered. We actually have 4 salivary glands instead of 2. So we were trying to talk about why this was a significant discovery. And then again, this talked about how Japan wanted to be a carbon neutral society. So what steps might countries take to become carbon neutral? And the last question to ensure sticker sticking wouldn't have to stop was about Susan B. Anthony and people placing their I voted stickers on her tombstone, which they discovered that the glue from the sticker was actually causing weathering, chemical weathering to her marble tombstone. So they decided to place plastic covering on her tombstone to protect it and still allow people to put their I voted stickers on it. So the question was, why do some voters place stickers on Anthony's grave? Which led to a great discussion about women's rights to vote, which happened 100 years ago. So we had a nice discussion with that. So after that vocabulary video, I went ahead and I introduced the students to Veterans Day so that they understood why tomorrow is a national holiday and what we are remembering. So I showed them the Veterans Day BrainPOP video, and after that we watched the Flocabulary Veterans Day video, which I like because both of them talk about Armistice Day, which is the origins of it and how it changed after World War II. So after that, we went ahead and continued with our Chapter 5 boat and bus tour of Florida. We only had enough time to watch the video tour for St. Augustine, but we had really great conversations about the oldest city of the United States and how it was first inhabited by the Spanish and how they built the Castillo de San Marcos out of what materials and how it was designed and for what purposes. We looked at a special purpose map. So it was a really good discussion-filled social studies lesson this morning. After that, we had math, where we reviewed Chapter 3, just a quick review of the strategies, and the students went ahead and took their topic assessment for Chapter 3, which is a district assessment on an online testing platform that our district provides. And then some of the students didn't finish, so I told them that when we come back on Thursday, they will go ahead and finish. Then in the afternoon, our lesson started with reading, where we are introducing a new unit. We were supposed to start yesterday, but we started today. And we are now in Wonders Unit 1, Week 5. So we basically follow the pacing guide that our district gives us. And the way that I started was I make sure I was on day 1. The essential question is, how can starting a business help others? So I start with just showing this weekly opener concept. And we have a discussion, what do they observe in the picture? And then they start making inferences. We connect it to the question. I ask a few questions about that. And then I show them the weekly opener video that also discusses that essential question and shows more examples, in this case, of how businesses help others. And then we went into our interactive read aloud, which I just show the pictures on the screen so they can see these photos or illustrations as I read the passage. And I model the comprehension strategy, which in this case is reread. So after that, we went ahead and we introduced the vocabulary words, which I go ahead and I use these interactive ones. Some of them have videos and they have the routine, define, example, ask. And some of them just have photos that they can go ahead and look at along with the sentence to determine the meaning based on context clues. So we went over all of those words, and then we did a vocabulary activity together where they had to determine whether the statement was true or false. And if it was false, we needed to change the statement with what the word actually meant. So it was a nice, simple review of those 8 vocabulary words. Now, we didn't have time right now today to go ahead and read the shared selection, which is dollars and cents, which further talks about businesses and how businesses can help others. Basically, every time we start a Wonders unit, it does take time because we're introducing the concept, the essential question, we're doing the listening comprehension, we're doing the vocabulary introduction, and then we start going into the shared read, followed by the main read on another day, and then the paired read. So that is what we ended up doing with our reading lesson. Now, it's interesting because one of the questions that I had the students ponder while we were doing the listening comprehension, and by the way, the questions that I was using are provided to us by the district on a document that looks like this. So basically, this is a question related to the video clip. This one is related to the listening comprehension. And then we have 2 that are related to the shared read, a couple that are related to the main read, and then a few that are related to the paired read. We also have some other ones that work with the different texts and some other multimedia clips that the district gives us. So because one of the questions was asking students to paraphrase the listening comprehension that I read to them, they didn't know what paraphrasing was. So I went ahead and I explained to them what paraphrasing was. Is basically writing it in your own words. And you have to know the main idea and the key details to do that. And that's exactly what we're focusing on for the next 2 weeks, main idea and details. And I went ahead and I showed them the Flocabulary video on paraphrasing, which is this one right here. And sometimes before I show the video, I do like to go over the vocabulary cards to kind of go over the vocabulary that the video is going to address. And then we went ahead and watched the video, which, by the way, does have a discussion aspect also. All the Flocabulary videos do, but it was a great way to help the students understand paraphrasing. That brings us to our last lesson of the day, which was writing. And with writing, we are currently still working on our rainforest informative essay. So for the next 2 weeks, we are now writing to the essay. So the last 2 weeks we spent on make sure we understood what the prompt was asking us to write about. So unwrapping the prompt, we were reading the sources, gathering evidence and bucketing the evidence. And now we're actually writing to this essay. So I wanted to do a full review of all the things that we have been doing the last 2 weeks. And I have a PowerPoint for that. So this is my PowerPoint. Let's not pay attention to that right now. My IT person is currently working on that. But that actually prevents me from editing my PowerPoints at work. So I have to make sure everything is done from home and ready to go. I can still show the PowerPoint, which is great. So I'm thankful for that. Now, some of these animations are not coming in the right order. So my apologies in advance. But I do show them the LAF standards, which are Language Arts Florida standards. We're working with informative essays right now. So I explained again what is informative writing. So I go over this with them. We went over what is an informative essay and what it has, and the features of an informative essay. So again, this language comes from our state rubrics for writing. And then I reviewed the analytical writing process. This is the same from my opinion PowerPoint that I had before. And then we went ahead and we reviewed how we unwrap the prompt, as well as APT 123, which is my strategy for helping students unwrap the prompt. So we looked at our prompt, so we circled our keyword, essay keyword, that tells us what kind of essay we're writing. We underlined the topic, and we asked, this is a 1-part or a 2-part prompt? This is actually a 2-part prompt, because we have to explain why rainforests are important and why they need to be preserved. So the APT is audience, purpose, task. Our audience, they didn't tell us who to write to, so it's automatically the teacher, so we know we're doing academic writing. Purpose is connected to what I circled, to inform. And then my task is connected to my topic, what I underlined. And I like to write it in the form of a question because it helps students know how to answer in their essays. Why are rainforests important and why they need to be preserved? And this is the Understanding the Prompt graphic organizer that our district provides for us. And I basically filled it out with them. And then we went over all the purpose for reading. So we read it the first time to get an idea of what it is, and then we read it a second time to get all our annotations in. So I'm just gonna scroll through these. These are just annotations that we made as we highlighted the sources, just to get an idea of what the sources talked about. So I'm just gonna quickly scroll through this. And then after that, we gathered evidence from source 1, which is right here, and then we went on to source 2. We did the same thing. So first we read just to get an idea of what it is and what was it about. So now we know what this text was about. And then we read it a second time to annotate. So we do a close reading of the sources to fully understand, especially since this is informational text, to understand what it is that we are reading and how we can use that to go ahead and write our essays. Sorry for the timing of these transitions are not coming in right. And then we gathered our evidence for source 2. And then we bucketed the evidence. So this explains what bucketing is. We did this Friday. It's just today I went ahead and I put them in actual buckets. I showed it to you on the Jamboard on Friday, but this is how I then put it together in buckets. So ultimately, my example essay is going to have 3 body paragraphs. Each of these represents 1 body paragraph that the students will write to, but they can choose to. I'm gonna let them decide how many they wanna write to in their own body paragraphs. So then it's time for the writing rumpus to begin, and we start with the introduction. So I go ahead and I mention how the informative introduction is similar and different to the opinion one. In this one, we're not stating our opinion, we're stating our controlling idea and supporting that. And there's different ways that we can start our introduction. So I gave them some options for informative essay opener. So we can start with a scenario, a global statement, a shocking statement, a quote, or an interesting fact. I just gave them 5 to start with because I feel like these are the most simplest ones. And then I gave them an example. So here is my example. The beginning is an opener. So imagine a world with a climate so dry, it's nearly impossible to grow food. That's one of the effects that would happen if our planet didn't have rainforests. Let's explore why rainforests are important and why they need to be preserved. And they needed to make sure they use words from the prompt. And here's example number 2. The planet is made up of many different ecosystems that help maintain life and various cycles on Earth. That is my opener. One of these is the rainforest, which is not only an important ecosystem, but one that also needs to be preserved. And that is my controlling idea, and I'm using words from the prompt. So then it was time for the students to actually write an introduction about the rainforest using the examples. So we went to Padlet. You know how I love Padlet. So let's go to that one right now and check it out, guys. I did put those same examples in the front so that you knew. But all my students wrote these amazing introductions. And yes, I needed to give them some feedback until everybody wrote their introductions. And I think they did a pretty good job. So that's basically what we ended up doing today, and I'm very proud of their writing. I mean, it just takes time. It takes conferencing with them. It takes feedback. It takes revisions, but this is a good start. And then when we come back on Thursday, we will continue with our body paragraphs a little bit at a time, because I know they still need a lot of guidance when it comes to writing body paragraphs for any type of essay. So I'm gonna continue to take you along with me as I continue to teach writing to them. And yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave you today. I feel like even though it's Tuesday and I'm only starting my vlog right now, this one is pretty long, but I hope that I'm able to share some ideas that you find useful. All right, so I'm gonna leave you for now, and I'll see you again on Thursday. Hello everyone, it is now Thursday and I am coming to you at the end of the day, and I have to kind of make this quick because it is already late. It is 5:45, but it looks like it's 9 p.m. outside that window because it's already turning pitch black. But I was just upgrading grades and catching up on all that and making sure that everything is ready to go for tomorrow's lessons. So I just want to give you a really quick walkthrough of how our lessons went for the day. So this morning we started with reading. And we went ahead and we read the passage Dollars and Cents, and we talked about main idea and key details. We also reviewed the vocabulary words for this unit. And like I mentioned, we read Dollars and Cents and we started highlighting some things that the students needed to look at. And it's a very short passage. We did our spade strategy. The students surveyed the text. They made their predictions. To engage students, I just used the chat really quickly, had them write their predictions in the chat, and I made sure that everybody was participating. And then as we read the passage, I introduced the concept, which is main idea and key details. And then we just basically reread the first section, hearts and souls, and I just had them write a one-sentence main idea of what that whole entire section was about. And all the students did that. So I told them that tomorrow they'll work on finding the main idea for the entire thing. They actually have a Microsoft Forms quiz that I created on main idea and key details, as well as going over our vocabulary strategy for this unit, which is suffixes. So that was our writing. I'm going to talk about writing right now. That was our reading lesson. So in writing, we continue with our rainforest informative essay, and today we started looking at the body paragraphs. So basically, this is my PowerPoint on that, and I just reviewed all the different ways that we write our body paragraphs. Let me just so you can see the animation. So we use our TREE acronym, which we have transition, reason / idea, evidence, elaboration, or elaboration, evidence. It doesn't matter the order that we do elaboration or evidence, as long as we have it. And we need as many elaboration and evidence as we need in order to explain our point for each body paragraph. So then I again talked about my writing tree. Again, the animations, I'm going a little bit faster. Basically, the trunk is our topic. In this case, our topic is why are rainforests important and why do they need to be preserved? So then our branches are answering that. So our reasons / ideas for answering that topic. And then the leaves on each branch are the evidence and elaboration that further explains that. And again, I went ahead and I just reviewed transitions. This is basically the same slides that I showed the kids when we were doing our opinion essays and making sure that they know the effective way to use transitions. And I went ahead and I gave them this transitions list, which I also make available to them in our Microsoft Teams, which I'll show you how I set up that in a moment. So we have transitions that are good for the first body paragraph, but are not really good for any other paragraph, basically just the first one. And then transition phrases or transitional phrases that are good for other body paragraphs, and it continues on the next slide. So then the fun thing is that I had the students actually help me write the first body paragraph. So this took some time and some participation as well. So I had students unmuting themselves and sharing ideas, as well as adding ideas to the chat, but this is the paragraph that we all wrote together. So we decided, according to that, how we bucketed our evidence, that our first body paragraph was going to talk about why are rainforests an essential ecosystem. So it starts with our transition. So simply stated, rainforest, let me get my laser pointer. The rainforest is an essential ecosystem on our planet. Without rainforests, life on Earth will be impacted negatively. And then that is my elaboration right after my reason. So then we wanted to find evidence that supports what we're trying to say. So according to source 2, Saving the Rainforest, the author makes note that, quote, because we're taking a direct quote from the text, over 70% of the world's plants and animal species live in the rainforest. And then we elaborate. That means that almost all life on Earth depend on this ecosystem. If the rainforest were to disappear, all these plants and animals would not have a place to live and could face possible extinction, as supported by Source 2. But that's not all. Rainforests are also responsible for regulating the world's water cycle and weather patterns, as shown in both Source 1, Rainforest Ecosystems, and Source 2, Saving the Rainforest. Quote, it rains more than 1 inch nearly every day of the year, as stated in paragraph 1. The water from this rain is absorbed by the roots of plants, which ground the water and then release the water into the atmosphere, according to paragraph 9. This cycle makes it possible for a planet to have the water and climate it needs to allow life to thrive. All of this proves that the rainforest is a unique and important part of Earth. So that was the wrap up for the first body paragraph. And tomorrow, they will continue to work on paragraph 2, where they're going to do an activity, which is like a fill in the blank activity that I set up in Nearpod. I'll talk to you more about that tomorrow because, again, I'm trying to run and trying to do this really fast. So that was our reading and writing lessons. And then we followed up with math. Now, in math, we started a new chapter, which is chapter 4, dividing by 1-digit numbers. And I started by having the students do a lesson on investigating remainders and modeling division problems with groups and counters in each group, or digital counters. So I used a new website because I wanted to engage all students and I wanted to see the process that they use in order to solve or model the division problem that I was giving them. So I was trying a new web tool that is completely free, and it's called Whiteboard.fi. So this is the website right there, Whiteboard.fi, and all you have to do, you don't even have to create an account, you just click on new class. And once you do that, you give your class a name. I'm just going to name it test, just for the purpose of this. And you can enable a waiting room, you can enable manual save mode for students, or not. And then if enabling manual save mode will disable the automatic whiteboard save functionality. And I encourage you to make sure that this is not checked because I wasn't exactly sure what that was. So I clicked on it and then I couldn't see my students' work unless they clicked the save button. So if you don't click on this, automatically you will see what the students are working on in their individual whiteboards. So then once you're ready, you create a new class and then it's creating the room. Please wait. So just wait a moment until it creates the room. And once it is there, you just copy and paste this URL and give it to your students. Then the students are going to start joining. They are asked to write their name. I just tell my students to write only their first name, and then it populates all their boards right on your screen. And you have your own teacher board, and you can actually write things or include things in your teacher board and then send it to everyone so they actually have to solve or answer what it is that you're sending. So I did take some screenshots because you can also save what the students are working on some of the students' models for their whiteboards, as well as some of the ones that I created for my examples. So this is an example. As you can see, use a model to show the answer. 439 divided by 5 is what I created and I pushed out to the students. And this is one student's representation. Here's another student's representation of that. And here's mine. So I was showing them how to go ahead and do that and write that the answer is 7, remainder 4. Here's another one. It's a little bit different, but again, they're showing the different ways to answer the problem. Here's another one, and this is a different problem that I gave them, so this is my example. So it was pretty cool. I want to use it again. I have to say that you have to wait a little bit, so I wouldn't put a lot of problems for the students to solve, unless like you do multiple choices. But this one, 13 divided by 2, it's something that I typed in my PowerPoint, and I right-clicked on the box, and I chose the Save As Picture, and then I just inserted that picture on my whiteboard, which I then pushed out to the students. So it was a pretty cool tool. It was the first time that I tried it. Let's see what happens as I continue to use it further. And then for science, we started a new concept. We're talking about matter, and today we were talking about changes in matter, specifically chemical changes. So I created a Nearpod with some of the screenshots from the actual textbook lesson, and then I had the students participate in a couple of interactive, engaging activities. So this is the start of the lesson, and we did watch a video on how food decays, and then after that we started looking at this and discussing about caves because the previous passage talked about that. And let me just put this in full screen for a moment. There we go. So then we again talked about the passage and had discussion. We talked about fire and how it is an example of chemical changes, and then they had an open-ended question. And the open-ended question was, how are the properties of ashes different from the properties of wood? So they can just go ahead and answer that. And then we, again, had another piece of text to read and look at another picture that shows examples of chemical changes, fast versus slow. And then they had another open-ended question, which was, give one example of a chemical change that occurs slowly. So the first they had to write one that occurs slowly, and the next question was to write one that occurs quickly. And the students shared that, and I was able to see all their responses. And then we continued doing this part right here before they went on to the last open-ended question, which was, how do you know the apple has undergone a chemical change? And then we had a poll that let me know how they understood the lesson. So I understand it pretty well. Someone understand and I don't understand. I'm happy that no one chose C. Everybody pretty much understood parts of it. And again, it's the start of the lesson, so we'll continue to talk about it. And the last one is an exit ticket. I decided to do the one where hashtag what I learned, write 3 hashtags that show what today's science lesson on changes in matter was about, main points of the lesson. So it was fun because they had to pretty much summarize the gist of the lesson into the hashtags. Some of them weren't used to writing hashtags, so I just had to give them a couple of examples, and then they got the hang of it because even though they submit answers in Nearpod, they can still go ahead and edit their responses. Another tip that I have for you is something that I tried with this particular Nearpod lesson was that I actually timed those questions. Some of those questions were timed 3 minutes, 2 minutes, because in the past I've given them questions and it takes like forever for some of them to answer because I guess they don't notice that they gotta like respond to it right away. So timing the questions turned out to be pretty well. So that in a nutshell is what we did today, Thursday, and it was a hard day for me. I've had a headache all day long, hence no makeup, and it's just me just trying to survive through the day, and hence I'm here still late when I should be going home. So let me pack my things, get home, and I'll see you tomorrow, Friday. Hello everyone and welcome to Friday. So I'm coming to you at the end of the day. The students and I just finished having a Minecraft playing session, which we have been doing for the past couple of Fridays after school, and having a lot of fun building and just doing things together in the world and bonding over a common interest, of course. So I just want to give you a rundown of how our day went today. This morning, I started with something that I haven't done yet. It's a morning slide, and I wanted to put the agenda so the students knew the schedule for today. And later on, I want to tweak this so that the agenda is a little bit more descriptive, not just saying what subject we're doing, but what activity or what is the focus of the lesson for that subject for that day. So I got to play around with it and the formatting because right now it's pretty plain, but I want to add a little bit of more jazz or pizzazz or zhuzh it up. So I want to show you that. And also this morning as the students came in, they saw the slide and I had some Minecraft lo-fi music playing in the background. And I put it through my safeshare.tv so the ads are removed. So let me go ahead and show you that. So here's the slide. It is pretty simple. Today was World Kindness Day, so I had the students write in the chat what kindness meant to them and one thing that they planned to do today to show kindness. And I added my Bitmoji, of course, and that was our agenda for today, just showing the subjects and how our day would be structured for today. But we did do the lo-fi Minecraft music, and this is on SafeShare TV. If you don't know what SafeShare.tv is, you can pretty much put links from YouTube and Vimeo in here. You don't need a paid account. I just have the free account, and it removes the ads, and I can create playlists for music that I want to play for my students. I've used it in the past in the classroom. Well, students will work on their assignments independently, but I thought it would be a nice way to like start the class in the morning like that, and every time we start class, just have that playing in the background. I have to say I felt like I was a live streamer, you know, on Twitch, preparing for my live stream, and my audience was there waiting for me to get started. It was a lot of fun. So after we did that, I went ahead and started our day with a live Gimkit. Now, Gimkit is similar to Kahoot and quizzes, but students actually earn money. So we were doing changes in matter. I can play live. We did this infinity mode, but in all honesty, it was taking forever and I didn't see the exit button. I literally just had to close my browser till it gets to close it, because I'm not sure if it wouldn't end until someone got all 6 infinity stones, which was going to take a long time because some of the infinity stones the students needed to earn digital virtual fake money, like up to like $10,000 or something like that for one of the infinity stones. So I think in the future, I'm just going to play the classic mode where students can work independently and you can choose how long you want the game to be. So that is something that I actually like, and the students actually love buying power-ups. And you can have the option of doing clean power-ups so the students don't buy power-ups that will freeze another student or prevent the student from answering a question. So love this. I have to say the students loved it as well. There was more engagement than when we play Kahoot or quizzes. So they actually want to play it again. So hopefully next week I can create another lesson where they have to do a Gimkit. So Gimkit, I love it. This, I do have the year subscription. So I do pay for it and it auto-renewed for this year. So, but you don't need it if you're just going to have a few Gimkits and then you just delete them. I just had it because the free version only limits you to a certain amount of Gimkits, and then you have to either delete the ones that you make, which if you put a lot of work and effort into making it, you don't want to delete it. So it's just an option, nothing that you have to do, because if you are comfortable with quizzes or Kahoot or even a Nearpod time to climb, you should be fine as well. But I actually liked how the students enjoyed this one. So then after this, we went into math and the students finished a test that I had started on Tuesday and I needed them to really finish today, which is a topic assessment for the district. And then after lunch, we started on our language arts, where we reviewed the dollars and cents passage, and I had the students take turns and read different parts of it until we read it again. And the students did an assignment on Microsoft Teams where I created a form quiz. So this is the assignment, and basically they just click on that and it's a form and they fill out the questions. They answer the questions that are related to topic, main idea, and key details. And these are all questions that I actually wrote myself. The last three actually review the suffix li, ful, and ive. So going over that vocabulary skill as well. Before reading, we also read The Invisible Boy, and it is an amazing story. Since it was World Kindness Day, I thought it would be a really good book so that the students can see how we can show kindness to someone and just reach out and say hello and give a friendly smile, acknowledge people. So it's a great book. And I forgot to mention, I don't remember if I mentioned it already, but yesterday we also read Abigail the Whale on Epic, which was another amazing story, which goes over growth mindset and basically the whole concept of you are what you think. So I'm gonna scroll all the way to the beginning. And here it is. So great story. The students absolutely loved it. We had a really good discussion about it. And it's still loading. Sorry that it's loading, but that is the cover right there. And then that's how it looks. And then we continue to read it. Great story. The illustrations are absolutely beautiful. And again, it's a free read on Epic if you want to check it out. And then it was time for writing. And in writing, we were focusing on our informative rainforest essay. So this is what I ended up doing. I did a Nearpod lesson and I did something a little bit different that I kind of hinted at yesterday, so I'll show you now. So let me go ahead and zoom into this preview. This is nothing new. I've showed this to you before. So that's the prompt, just reviewing how we unwrapped it, reviewing how we made annotations of the sources. And then, of course, we went ahead and gathered the evidence. This is something we did before, so this is just a review and the bucketing the evidence and how the students, I showed them the model of the introduction. So that was example 1. This is example 2. And then this is the paragraph that the students helped me write yesterday, which led to this activity, which I thought was pretty cool. So I typed a second body paragraph with the transition, reason, and then elaboration, evidence, elaboration, etc. So this is a fill in the blank. So they have to grab the words from down here and put them in the blanks that they think they belong in. So even more, and then I'm gonna go down. I think the word here is important. It is because I wrote this. So they take it and they drag it to the top. Sorry, let me do that correctly. So let's put it in the correct spot. Important is the fact that rainforest, and I'm looking for the rainforest with the S, which is right over here, rainforest, and we put that there. Rainforests provide many, and we're looking for benefits with the S, and it is, oh my God, I can't really find, there it is. So I thought it was going to be laughing at me because I couldn't find it fast enough. Benefits to all life on Earth. So I'm going to look for Earth, which is right here with a period, and put it right there. So basically the students kept doing that until they were done. There were a total of 20 words. The students did a pretty good job. And then I went over what the entire paragraph would have been like if they did it correctly. And at the end of this activity, they are told how many words out of the total they got correct. And I went in as a student, so I was able to kind of see their experience. And once they're done, they click on done, and that's when they get their how many words they got correct. So that in a nutshell is what we did today, and the students had an opportunity to finish assignments, and then after school at 3:05, that's when we started playing Minecraft. But that's all I have for you for today, Friday, and for the rest of this week. I hope you enjoy coming along with us on week 11 of our school year. We're still in the second grading period. Next week, I believe it's like halfway through the grading period or something like that. Next week is a full week, and then after that, it's Thanksgiving break. Are you kidding me? Thanksgiving break, though, we come to school Monday and Tuesday. So it'll be an interesting Monday and Tuesday. I usually read Balloons Over Broadway and do some fun activities with that. So that's all I have for you. And I hope you'll stick around with us and see what else we end up doing as the year progresses. I do have some videos other than just my classroom vlogs planned. So stay tuned for those. I'll let you know more about it soon. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought or any questions you may have. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell for notifications so you don't miss any future videos. I hope you have a beautiful, magical day, and don't forget to smile. Hello, dreamers, wishers, and magical thinkers. Thank you so much for making it to the very end of this video and for showing your support. If you'd like to subscribe, you can do so by clicking on my picture down here. You can also check out my latest videos here and here. Don't forget to believe in the magic that's inside you because you are capable of great things. See you next time.